This is the Retirement Solution Podcast with financial advisor John Hicks, founder of J. Hagan Capital.
Glad to have you here with us on the Retirement Solution with financial advisor John Hicks. I'm Heather Branch, here asking John so many questions, lots of questions about the things that we want to be learning more about, educating ourselves on, figuring out for our financial future. We spend all of our working years earning and saving. We build a nest egg. We get to our retirement. We want to make sure that that nest egg is now going to do the work for us, letting us live that life we want to live in our retirement. So that's what John and his team do every single day, helping people create retirement plans, customized to their goals. They're here to do that for you as well. You can get started by visiting us, retirementsolutionradio.com. We've also got links posted in the show notes, or again, retirementsolutionradio.com. There still seems to be some people want the Fed to cut rates. Other people are saying, don't do it. Let's continue to ride this out.
Yeah.
Some are calling it a political move about Fed rates getting cut. Former Federal Reserve Vice Chair Roger Ferguson was saying to CNBC that the data disagrees. Here's what he said.
I think this time, for sure, the data are strong enough and the market expectation is strong enough that a September move is very much baked into the cards, and therefore, in that sense, sort of apolitical. Unless there's something really surprising that occurs, this one seems, almost, as about a done deal as one can see in central banking.
So he says it seems like it's going to happen. It's apolitical. It's a huge election year. Don't have to explain that to anybody. But thinking about politics in this place, and I think also especially there are people, I know you talk to them, people that are worried about how elections can affect their investments, their money in their retirement. So how does it all come together?
I rarely agree with a lot of these kind of assertions, but I would say this. If the Fed cuts rates in September, I actually do not think that's political at all. When you look at the spreads on a lot of margins, if you look at where the economy is, if you look at how poor the real estate market has performed in many things, if you look at how high interest rates have really stopped a lot of people from having home ownership and caused things like that. If you look at the broad landscape and the fact that, the inverted yield curve is really starting to be pronounced, we probably just don't need to have rates this high. It doesn't mean that they come down 5%, go back to zero. But I mean, it makes total sense non-politically to go ahead and adjust rates down at least 0.25%. So I don't think that's political. Having said that, why are the reasons why they're thinking about dropping? Because we may really truly be at the forefront of a major recession. That's a very honest statement. If you look at unemployment rates, unemployment is still pretty good, but people are not getting paid what they used to get paid. Inflation has come down a little bit, but it's still growing. It's not like we've seen any kind of real retraction of costs. We just aren't seeing eggs go to $7 a dozen. We're only seeing them at, $3 or $3.50 or $4. We're not seeing ground beef go from $4.75 to $2. We're just seeing it not go to $5.25, right? So these are real things. So inflation is not completely in wraps. So we need to make sure that we're being very careful. At the same time, the last two major recessions we had, the Fed did not cut rates quick enough. I think they were very slow on raising rates, and that's what got us in this mess with inflation. And if they don't cut in September, they're probably dangerously close. And Bill Ackman, billionaire hedge fund manager, philanthropist from Pershing Square, Bill Ackman said, hey, if they don't cut rates soon and they act too late, this could actually be very problematic. The last time they did not cut rates or use any QE, we can probably remember that was part of the dot-com bust. So 2000, 2001, 2002, we didn't print money. We did not reduce rates very much. And it was 3 years of carnage. The market's falling apart. 9/11, which happened in the middle of that, did not help anything. We had 3 years of falling apart. Now, unfortunately, I think it's too easy for politicians and the Fed to say, hey, let's just print money and fix the problem. But we've gotten used to it, and we see that it works, but there is aftermath. The inflationary fodder that we're dealing with is because we made it too easy for people to have money, to be perfectly honest. And there's a lot of people now that credit card bills are as high as they've been since 2007. Remember what happened in 2008? Everything fell apart. People couldn't afford things. Credit card bills are as high as they were back then because a lot of the free COVID money's gone. A lot of people have gone back to work, but they're not making what they need to keep up with inflation. We're seeing all kinds of unbelievable cost increases in healthcare, not only just in Medicare premiums and things like that, but across the board, right? So we're going to have some issues that we're going to have to deal with as a country, but they're all potentially addressable. I don't think we can do that with the same administrative policies we've had over the previous 3.5 years. That is not going back and saying that the previous president was perfect. I am saying, though, that we have a real inflationary problem. We do have a recession, probably. If we don't have a hard landing, that's great. But I don't know that the presidency, no matter what happens in November, is going to fix the immediate issue.
Right.
We're still probably going to have some pain. So the main thing, though, is what kind of policies are we putting together? I think that the fact that we're not drilling in the United States, when we literally are the world's #1 potential producer of oil, is kind of silly. Now, do I understand environmental concerns? Of course. Can we not just have some regulations on how we do it correctly so that we don't have to keep buying Saudi oil and expensive oil and deal with all that kind of stuff? Can we do some things like that where we could increase the economy, increase GDP, increase our opportunities? I think we can do that, right? It's always a balancing act. One side and the other side seem to have gotten so polarized that it's hard to find anyone to get close enough to the middle to come up with an agreement.
Right.
I hope that no matter what happens in November, we can just truly understand the president is one person. The vice president has had historically no power in this country. Not to say they should or shouldn't. They've almost had none.
Is what it is.
So the current person that's campaigning for the current administration has had zero power for 3.5 years. Now, on the other side, we had a former president of the United States, and everyone wants to talk about the vice presidential candidates and hopefuls. They have no power. But that's one person. Congress and Senate is so much more important. Those are the people affecting the laws, creating all of the money that's going over to Ukraine, all this. The president can't do that. That requires Congress and Senate to do that stuff. Guys, hold them responsible for some of this crap. We don't have the money ourselves. Why are we sending it to whoever? And is it accounted for? And are we going to get it back? Are they going to have a big old IOU and they got to give us free Ukrainian goods in the future? I don't know. Are we going to get a new set of Russian nesting doll sets? What are we going to get out of this? I don't know, but I do know that we have our own major issues. And I think that we need to truly reflect on what America's problems are and concentrate on those issues. But all of the grandstanding and postulating of I will do this, I will do this, I will do this. I don't know. I don't think that that's not going to fix our problems, guys. We're going to have to take more responsibility personally for these things. It's going to have to be important. Fed cuts this time, I don't think are political. I think that whoever's calling for them, that's political. But we probably are going to have maybe not a great time for a few months. Maybe it could be a super short period of time. Maybe I'm wrong, and we're going to have a very easy landing. That'd be awesome. But I don't know. I just see a lot of issues out there, right? I still see a lot of places that can't hire good quality people. I see a lot of restaurants that still close at 8:30 and 9 o'clock, not because people wouldn't come in and eat the food, but because they can't get people to work there. And that's a problem. I still see the cost of everything going up. A cheeseburger at a normal sit-down restaurant is close to $13, $14, $15. I
was going to say 16. Yeah.
And it very, very much the case, and then of course, even when you go to the fast food places, I mean, things are expensive. So the average American, and especially folks on fixed income, which is why we're talking about this on the show, when we get towards and closer to retirement, we're going to be more on a fixed income, even if it's a psycho great fixed income. Even if you have $400,000 a year coming in, that's probably about the maximum you got. Or if you're working, you could still maybe make more, right? So we have to understand as costs inflate and increase, if the government can't fix this, and I don't expect they can, then we're going to have to come up with some better solutions on our own. So that personal responsibility is what I've preached on the show for as long as I can remember, because that's the way I was raised, because regardless of whatever political side someone's on, fiscal conservatism is important. We have to understand that we can't just spend money like a bunch of drunken sailors and expect it to all work out. At one point in time, someone's going to have to pay the piper. I'd rather that we do it on our own as opposed to hiring some government official to say they can fix the problem. Because, guys, in the 48 years I've been on this planet, I've never seen one government politician solve one single thing for this country, to be perfectly honest. We have to do it on our own. It's always the resiliency of Americans, coming back to the Olympics, the resiliency of Americans to kick butt, even when it seems like we have no shot.
And air conditioning.
Yeah, darn straight air conditioning. Darn straight air conditioning. I'm never going back on that. Never.
Nope. Same with you. Simpatico. It's about taking that responsibility, and it begins with taking action. If you are ready to do just that, John and his team are here to help. Visit us, retirementsolutionradio.com. We also have links posted in the show notes, or again, it's retirementsolutionradio.com.
Thanks for listening to the Retirement Solution Podcast with John Hicks. Begin the conversation about your savings plan with John and the team at J. Hagan Capital by visiting retirementsolutionradio.com. Be sure to listen to John's radio show, The Retirement Solution, Saturdays at 8 a.m. and Sundays at 9 a.m. on News Radio 840 WHAS.
J. Hagan Capital Inc. is not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if J. Hagan Capital Inc. is licensed in your state, please call 502-690-5635. J. Hagan Capital Inc. is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency. It does not provide legal or tax advice. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through J. Hagan Capital. National license number 1882794.